Maneco 64 here, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Just waiting to see if people are going to come on. Can you guys hear me well? I'm trying a new software, Zoom. I'll be able to share screenshots and things with you guys today. Let me know if it's working well. Is there a delay as well? Because I'm not great at, well, I'm not bad at technology, but I'm just trying this out. Oh, that's good. Good to know. So the title of my live stream is Money in a Free Society, the Value of Exchange, right? Last week, of course, I covered the introduction of what a government has done to our money, right? And the case for 100% gold dollar by Murray Rothbard. Today, I'm going to go into part 2 and the first chapter. I'll wait until more people come on. Oh yeah, I'm not getting an echo because I turned the volume off here where I am, so that's good. Yeah, Billy's over here. There he is. He's asleep and snoring. Nice to see people coming on here. Yeah, I'm glad I learned how to use the Zoom. Oh, he's just come. Well, I thought he was going to go down because now I can share the screen with you guys. There might be a little bit of a glitch somewhere, but because this is the first time that I'm doing this. FINRA NARC got $10,000 worth of leveraged VIX ETF calls. Well, good luck. We'll put winnings into silver if it profits. Well, good luck, FINRA. Yeah, you could be right. We could keep going up. You can't fight the Fed, right? Blockchain appraise, high blockchain appraise. Where's Billy? No, Billy's right behind me. Can you see him? He's asleep there. I did, R. Sinclair, I did watch that video interview with Dr. Mark Skidmore. I enjoyed that a lot. I like Dr. Skidmore. He's quite, yeah, he's a true, how can I say, he's an honest guy. And the thing he does is ask questions. But he also doesn't make assumptions because he doesn't have all the data, and that's a good thing. The only thing here that I can't do now is see how many people are on because I've got a new setup. I'm using Zoom. So hopefully there's enough people here, and then I'll start going into the book. Oh, let me try this sharing with you guys because Billy on Wednesday, he used to go to a groomer, like, how can I say, she had a shop, but now she drives around in a van, really nice van, with all the equipment, and she came on Wednesday to groom Billy. So I'll show you a photo she took of him. Let me just get this sorted. Hopefully you guys will like this. Let's have a look. There you go. There's Billy. He looks good, doesn't he? Just wanted to show you guys that. Leave that there for a second. Okay, let's stop sharing it now. Okay, I'm back. So let's see here. Did that work, guys? Sharing the Billy picture? Let me know. Oh, good. You did see it. Pat, did you see True News on Friday? Yeah, I saw that. I didn't watch that. I think they should try to tone down their religious terms. I don't think it helps. I think they should stick to the facts, like of the impeachment. I think that impeachment proceedings is all, how can I say, theater. I made a video, I think it was yesterday, and I said that I haven't been getting as many views. Someone said I haven't been watching as much because I've been following the impeachment. And it's probably the same thing in the UK. People follow the election and Brexit. That's what people are following right now. Yeah, she just shouted dog, DMC says. So, oh, we got 50 people watching now. So we'll wait a little longer. I'm a little early. It's not even 9 o'clock. The thing is, when you go live like this directly, you can't set up a time. And I just wanted to make sure I was ready by 9 o'clock, and it looks like everything's working. To show you something else here, let's see. Oh yeah, something interesting for all of you guys in Canada, right? One of my followers sent me a message about this from the Bank of Canada, the Central Bank of Canada. They've just started a new facility, and let's have a look here. All right, I hope you guys are seeing this. So this came out November 13th, 2019. So about 11 days ago. Bank of Canada's intention is to introduce a standing term liquidity facility. So I'll read through here. This is from the Bank of Canada. The Bank of Canada is announcing its intention to introduce a new liquidity facility, standing term liquidity facility, STLF. The STLF will complement the bank's current tools for the provision of liquidity and will strengthen the bank's role as lender of last resort. And if you look through it, it's very euphemistically put, right? It says here, under the proposed STLF, the bank could provide loans to individuals prudentially regulated members of Payments Canada that are experiencing idiosyncratic stress, where the bank has no concerns about their financial soundness. The addition of the STLF is another step in the bank's efforts to enhance the resilience of the Canadian financial system. So this is what doesn't make sense. If the bank doesn't have any concern about their financial soundness, why is it putting up this new STLF? I think you know, it's not just the Fed, New York Fed, with its QE and everything. It's all the major central banks around the world. So let's stop sharing now. So did you guys see that? I'm sorry to keep asking. It's just that this is the first time I've used Zoom. True News, Pat, I will watch the True News thing. That title put me off. Actually, it did. And that's why I never like try to mix economics and any kind of other stuff like religion. Hi, Tom Taylor. Good, so it's working. FINRA, what do you think the possible outcomes of Brexit vote coming up are? Do they? Well, the next important thing is not Brexit, is the general election on the 12th. So we got about less than 3 weeks, I think now. I think they're gonna delay Brexit again, probably till the middle of next year. Depends who wins. I think if Labour win, they're gonna probably have another referendum. I don't know, it's a big mess. Andy from Devon. Hi, Andy. 80 watching now. Yeah, it's starting to move up. So let's go into the book now, or just wait a little longer. Wait a little longer. So today I didn't play golf. I didn't play golf yesterday. Took a little break. I went with my wife. We went shopping. She wanted to get new curtains for our bedroom. So that's what we did. We went to Blue Water. I don't know if any of you know Blue Water. It's a big shopping center. like a mall outside London. Richard Powell from Surrey, good. Yeah, Carlos Soto says Glint is back. Yeah, it looks like they'll be back as of tomorrow, hopefully. I mean, my main question for Glint, and I did promote Glint. I did have a promo code. Not sure what's going to happen with that now. But my main problem is that they can assure people now that this won't happen again. I don't think there was a problem with the funds or anything. It was a problem with knowing who they're dealing with, right? The creditor that they were dealing with. It looks like the creditor that triggered the administration, they were looking to do a hostile takeover of Glint, and that's why that happened. Lynn Gordon, books burning over here. Where's that, Lynn? Robert Preston from Michigan. Yeah, I saw that. I was watching, actually, I was on Twitter earlier and I saw his tweet, his first campaign ad. Michael Bloomberg, I think he was a bond broker at Salomons. He started the Bloomberg terminal. I remember the Bloomberg terminal back in the late 80s. It was very specialized mostly for the bond market. And then it evolved and evolved, and Bloomberg is becoming a big firm. I tell you, he's not the candidate of the American people. He's the candidate of Wall Street. He's not going to go after the Federal Reserve. He's not going to go after the banks. Those are the people who pay, who have made Bloomberg, the company, what it is. It's the Wall Street and the central banks. I used to have a Bloomberg terminal at work. I don't have it anymore because I think it used to be like $2,000 a month. So when you work for a firm and you're doing business, they cover that, but it's probably even more now. Kitco, yeah, I used to use Kitco a lot for my gold price. Someone with the, I don't know your name, but I can't read Arabic. We don't, in this YouTube channel, we don't talk about religion. We're talking about money and economics. It doesn't matter what Mr. Bloomberg's background is. I'm just giving you the facts. What I've seen is that Bloomberg was quite authoritarian as a mayor as well in New York. With the stop and frisk, I saw that he tried to tell people what kind of drinks they could have, how big their soft drinks could have, but that was that was like totally knocked down by the courts, right? So I don't think he's going to do well. He's going to spend a lot of money, and I don't think he's going to get anywhere. Michael Bloomberg, 110 watching, Pat. Yeah, I can see it now, Pat. It's just that I didn't know where to watch. I've got a new, I've got Zoom, and I'm actually watching here. I've got the Zoom screen that I can see me, and then I've got the YouTube. It's like what you're seeing, and it's delayed. Before, I used to have another screen that was a different one from YouTube. Xerxes, have a great day. Thank you. Miles Chambers. Oh yeah, was that about the Canada? I think, yeah. In Chile and in the midst of a revolution, the bankers have already started a campaign to make sure we preserve the central bank. Isabel Bozo. So let's go into the title of the Money in a Free Society. What else is it? And the Value of Exchange, right? So last Sunday, I went through the introduction of this book, What Has Government Done to Our Money, by Murray Rothbard. So today, let's go through the big, it's part 2, chapter 1, the value of exchange. And I think this is the most important thing about money. So he asks the question, Murray Rothbard. And I highly recommend you guys get the book, put a free link in the description. How did money begin? Clearly, Robinson Crusoe had no need for money. He could not have eaten gold coins, neither could Crusoe and Friday. Perhaps exchanging fish for lumber need to bother about money. But when society expands beyond a few families, the stage is already set for the emergence of money, right? So I think that's the interesting part here. Once society expands beyond a few families. To explain the role of money, we must go even further back and ask, why do men exchange at all? So this is what the Austrians do. They do the regression theory analysis. They go back to the beginning. So this is part of this. Exchange is the prime basis of our economic life. Without exchanges, there would be no real economy and practically no society. So there you go. I think this is the important part. Money is important, but exchange is what it's all about. And that's why also central banking, socialism, what we have now, just money creation, fiat currency creation, is not going to create prosperity, right? We need people to have like skills and do things, productive things that they can exchange with other people that do the same. That's how societies thrive, in my opinion. Aaron, you watched that video? That's good. Money is that. I think I might have watched that before, but a long time ago. It was actually a friend of mine from the city who's still in the city. He sent me a link. He said, oh, you should forward that or talk to your viewers about that, subscribers. I think they would enjoy it, and it was. I haven't read that, Bowman, the Privatization of Roads, Highways by Walter Block, no. So let's keep going here on this chapter. So no society. Clearly, a voluntary exchange occurs because both parties expect to benefit. An exchange is an agreement between A and B to transfer the goods or services of one man for the goods or services of the other. Obviously, both benefit because each values what he receives in exchange more than what he gives up. When Crusoe exchanges some fish for lumber, he values the lumber. He buys more than the fish he sells, while Friday, on the contrary, values the fish more than the lumber. So let's stop here. Let's have a look at some of you guys, some of the questions and comments. Isabel says, I'm in Chile. I've seen that one. Lynn Gordon, I'm just across the North Sea. Give him a 1930s vibe. It was war, quiet one. Endeavor Silver suspends operations. I guess they're in Chile. Sorry to hear about Chile, says Pat. I hope the central banks get thrown out. John Middleton, my mate had 10 pounds worth of cannabis. In the event it is swapped for 10 pounds of Scotch eggs. Not sure, yeah. Dennis Demenis, why is having GLD ETF problematic? Don't they buy real gold and hold it as a guarantee? No, they don't. They don't buy real gold. You read the prospectus. No, it's unallocated gold. And the thing is, in order to be able to get delivery, you need to buy at least 10,000 ETFs. And it's held by HSBC, and we know HSBC Bank is not a bank to be trusted. So it's not real gold, and they're not really holding a bar for you or a 1 ounce coin. I would recommend you go into Silver Doctors and read some, or Google, I think at Silver Doctors, there's a guy there that talks about the ETFs. There is no real gold behind the ETFs. They use the futures a lot to cover their, positions. I wouldn't trust ETF. It's a banker's instrument to try to keep people from buying the physical. That's what the GLD is. And if you want to keep the bankers in charge, go ahead and buy the GLD. If you want to not to cooperate or work with the bankers, buy physical. And I think there's an article recently, because I think it was CNBC, they talked about GLD, and they didn't say it, they said it's an ETF that tracks gold. They never said it was an ETF that holds gold, right? So it tracks gold, but you can't have really the physical gold. How can they print this money while inflation is still not that high? Well, printing money, creating money out of thin air, that's inflation, right? We've been taught, the general public, not me, but general public thinks that inflation is the measurement of CPI, of the cost of living. No, that's the consequence of inflation. And they fiddle those numbers. Those numbers are not real. You should go to shadowstats.com. John Williams, shadowstat.com. If the government in the US calculated CPI like they did before Paul Volcker, it would be like 10%. The same thing goes for everywhere else around the world. Swiss native, greetings from Australia, Oz. Pat, the reason these big banks get away with the crimes they commit is that they are helped and overseen by the BIS. The BIS is a independent entity, and it's the bankers for the central banks. Watch All the Plenaries Men by John Titus, and he explains exactly the reason they let them get away is that they're too big to fail. If they go after them, the whole system implodes, because it shows how corrupt they are. So they let them keep going. It's a bit like Dr. Mark Skidmore. Greg Hunter asked him, so why don't people cover this, the 21 trillion? They know it's well, because it's not going to end well, right? So people don't want to look at it because it's so bad. But as Dr. Mark Skidmore said, the only way to fix it is to have a complete implosion of the system and a general reset and go back to the constitutional money, right? And I agree with him. Vibe Nations, well, I've looked at gold, and I remember I was in the markets, but I looked closely more at what it did during the crisis. Basically, the crisis started in the beginning of 07. Gold was around 600, went up to 1,031 by March 2008. Yes, it corrected to around 680, 700 later on after Lehman collapsed. So it was actually up since the beginning of the crisis. Not much, but it was down from the top, but then it very quickly went up. Some people say that might happen again. Maybe what we're seeing now in gold, the correction from 1550 to 1450, maybe that's the correction we're going to get. And now we're going to maybe see a crisis. Who knows? John DeGlass, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Benjamin Franklin, I agree. There's another guy, George Gilder. He's like a tech analyst. He's written many books. He advised Ronald Reagan. He also says that wealth, right? And is knowledge, right? You need to always keep learning. So I agree with that. Lehman was March. No, that was Bear Stearns, March. Lehman was September. Was it September or yes, September 28, 2008. Bear Stearns was March 2008. They actually didn't, go under, but they were going to go under, and JP Morgan saved them with the help of the Fed, of course. It was a backdoor bailout through JP Morgan by the Fed. Sanjit, good evening, Sanjit. So let's continue on the value of exchange, right? So this is an interesting part. He talks about how some very clever people have missed the point about exchange. He says, from Aristotle to Marx, men have mistakenly believed that an exchange records some sort of equality of value, that if 1 barrel of fish is exchanged for 10 logs, there's some sort of underlying equality between them. Actually, the exchange was made only because each party valued the two products in a different order. Why should exchange be so universal among, well, I'll stop at that. So basically he's saying that, yeah, the price of fish versus lumber might be a certain ratio, but the people who are doing the exchange, they value each commodity differently. So for the parties that are acting in that exchange, the value is not the same because they want one of these commodities more than the other. So I think that's really important as well, because if no one valued things differently than other people, there wouldn't be any exchange, right? You wouldn't need to exchange. Steve Brooks, greetings from Gary, Illinois. Holder of physical gold and silver, do own gold shares. Barrick, I don't understand crypto, so have not gotten involved. Well, Steve, if you don't understand and you haven't gotten involved, that's the best thing. I've been looking at crypto for many years. I think I started back in 2013, and I've read up on it quite a bit. I think right now is probably not a bad time if you're interested to learn about it, especially as the market is taking a breather, so to speak, the last couple of years. Yeah, Edward Griffin, there's a good video interview he did with Norman Dodd back in the early 80s. Edward Griffin, I recommend people watch that. Norman Dodd, here's the guy's name, Norman Dodd. Yeah, gee, Edward Griffin did a good interview with him. Okay, PAD. Technical looks like gold will bottom at 1390 to 1360 sometime around March before it rebounds. I hope I'm wrong, like a rebound much sooner. Pat, you could be right. I thought a few weeks ago we were breaking out of those falling wedges in gold and also the flag in silver, and it didn't. They've come back down, but I think it's becoming more of a flag in gold now. So with that, let's, as I can use my share with you guys, I'll show you those charts, right? So I'll show you the weekly chart of gold, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's see here. Let's draw this chart up. Okay, that's done. All right. So let's see how this works. Share. Okay. All right. So you see this chart? I thought that back in, when was it? End of October, we were breaking out there. I thought we were going to break out, but then the week after that, they just slammed gold down. So it's become now like a flag and not a falling wedge. And we're still within that flag. So but you could be right. I mean, the key support, the key breakout, as you can see, the high back in 2016, July 2016, that was 1375, right? It could very well go back to test that level, because that was the breakout there, as you can see here, from the middle of June. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Personally, yeah, if you're trading, you need to be careful. So let's stop sharing now, go back. So did you guys see that? Just making sure that it's working well. Hopefully that helped you guys. That was my bit of technical analysis. Pierce 205, thank you for the super chat donation. He says, I don't see how technical analysis can work in a manipulated market. It's all fake. Just keep buying precious metals. Well, even manipulated markets, how can I say, technical analysis works in the long term. But I agree, I haven't been trading for a long time, for a year or two. I used to work in the city, used to do a lot of technical analysis. I was a futures and options broker. And also did fundamental analysis. I like using both. But I can tell you, I bought some gold last week. So I cashed in one of my private pensions because I turned 55. So in the UK, you can cash in your private pension. And I can't, I bought some gold. I bought some Bitcoin and some EOS as well. So there you go. Yeah, it's working well, and it doesn't seem to be buffering this, how can I say, this live stream. Yeah, I've turned the volume completely down on my computer, because if I turn it up, there's like an echo. So let's continue with the book. We're looking at the value of exchange. So this is the, yeah, this is towards the end. This is what he says, Murray Rothbard. Dave Humphreys. Let me just answer that question, because it's an interesting question. Do you think nationalizing the banks would keep them in check? And why don't they? No, I don't think the problem with, no, I think that's the wrong thing to do, nationalizing. I think what they need to ban and make it illegal is fractional reserve banking. We need to go back to sound money. So when people put money in the bank, they're putting gold or silver in the bank, and they should ban bankers from lending gold and silver that they don't have. That's the whole problem. Nationalizing the banks, it's not going to make any difference if they don't reform the banking and monetary system. Nationalization is going to be even worse, probably. Well, look at RBS, it's 2/3 nationalized. Rumpelstiltskin from Japan. Early doors in Japan on Monday. So let's continue here. Why should exchange be so universal among mankind? I think what he means is, why do people exchange things, right? So let's see what he says. Fundamentally, because of the great variety in nature, the variety in men, and the diversity of location of natural resources. Every man has a different set of skills and aptitudes, and every plot of ground has its own unique features, its own distinctive resources. From this external natural fact of variety comes exchanges. So that sounds quite reasonable, right? Wheat in Kansas for iron in Minnesota. One man's medical services for another's playing of the violin. Specialization permits each man to develop his best skill and allows each region to develop its own particular resources. If no one could exchange, if every man were forced to be completely self-sufficient, it is obvious that most of us would starve to death and that the rest would barely remain alive. Exchange is the lifeblood, not only of our economy, but of civilization itself. So that, I thought that was quite interesting. And when you hear about people on both sides, right? And that's the other thing I want to say. I think there's so much left-right division right now, and that doesn't help. We need to focus, yeah, on ourselves, on the money, on the honesty of the system, right? It's no point. I think. I don't think what we've had in the last 11 years is good, of course, either. We got a monopoly system of banking and money, pouring money at the back of the taxpayer, not only in the US, but in the UK, into the banks, right? They're keeping the system going. And now they think that the solution is going to be to go left, right? The socialism or Labor Party, and nationalize everything, have no competition, right? You need competition to have variety, right? And to have choice. Carlos Sotos, your broadcast is coming in perfectly in Guadalajara, Mexico. Great. KBC Carrot Bar. Dave Humphreys, I heard JP Morgan were the ones falling short in the repo market as they were using the cash to buy back shares, hence now from their overnight reserves. I really don't know. I heard my wife was talking to me because she listened to Max Kaiser, and he was saying, blaming JP Morgan as well. I don't really think we know who's to blame. There's other parts of the repo market, the reverse repo, which is like the clients that sometimes lend to the dealers, right? And they can be funds, asset managers, hedge funds. We don't know who's got the problem. Alex S., what about Prince Andrew? Well, I don't focus on that here, even though if you people want to know about Prince Andrew, I recommend this YouTube channel here. This guy is really good. Sean Atwood. It could be written Sean, but he's done more than 100 videos, and he does a video every day about Prince Andrew. Yeah, it doesn't look good, I agree, but I'm not gonna go into that. Nationalize the utilities for the people. Worked well in Bolivia. Well, the thing about utilities, maybe there's a point for those, you know, electricity, water, sanitation. I'm not sure, but the thing that, like here in the UK, I think what they did wrong is they renationalized, privatized a lot of the railroads, and they didn't do a very good job privatizing because they made them like into private monopolies almost. There wasn't much competition, but you know, in countries like Switzerland and France, the railroads are nationalized and they work very well. So I'm not sure what the situation is. I actually don't think governments run the economy very well. I think governments should be small and just focus on administering the rule of law, right? Protecting the individual and the individual's property. Make sure that the judicial system is fair, and we have none of that nowadays. Judicial system is far from being fair, right? And I will mention, you look at Assange, he hasn't done anything really wrong, and he's almost dying in jail. And you have a guy like Prince Andrew, who's out free, right? Who's allegedly done a lot of wrong things. So we got 169 now watching. That's right, Mark Wales. What you said there is right. I watched a video years ago about this American woman. I think her husband was quite high up in the Navy, and she said that's how you got ahead, because people had something on you. So, and the people in charge can keep you under control, because they can bring things up that are not very nice, so that you do whatever they want. So unfortunately, that's the kind of people that rise to the top. So let's see if there's anything else I wanted to show you. I'll show you a chart of silver now. Let's have a look. I've got it here, so that's good. Let's go back here, share silver. All right, here we go. That's the chart of silver. It's a weekly chart going back to 2016, 2015. You can see the bottom there. That was at 1363. It's been a real, it really hasn't gone anywhere, I guess, in relative terms in the last, well, 4 years or so. The low's been around 1360, and the high really has been 18. We've had a spike up to 21 in the middle of 2016. And yeah, this is it looks like a little flag to me. So as long as we hold this pattern here, silver looks all right. Where could it go if gold also breaks down to 1375, 1380? Well, it looks like we could go here. That was the breakout here at 1620, you see, in the silver. So we could still go down there. So that's the technical analysis for silver. You guys saw that okay? So the chart, I hope. Pat, I agree with what you said there. Governments don't run anything. They are a facade. They are the cover of the real power, which is corporations and the banks. I agree. That's why I never vote, because it doesn't really make any difference. Voting is just like a civic bread and circus, I think. That's what voting is, civic bread and circus. Platinum, let's see if I can find a chart of platinum. I assume you're asking the technical for platinum. Let's see, yeah, let's have a look here, platinum. Have a look at chart of platinum. Problem is my chart is, it looks a little like silver actually. The chart, let's share it. It's a weekly chart. It doesn't go back that far, but I'll show it to you. Hold on. Let's share it. Yeah, here we go. There's a chart of platinum going back to the beginning of 2017. Yeah, it was doing really well here. It had spiked to almost 1,000. And it's retested this breakout around 915 here. We need to get back above that level. But I think it looks like a bottom here. You know, if you look at the low in August of 2018, just above 750. Yeah, I think it looks all right. Platinum as well, technically. Does that help, Pat? So yeah, I would, if I was a trader, I'd probably be long platinum. longer term. Oh, 1980, the platinum. I don't know if I've got access to a chart that goes back that far. Oh, you want to have a look at Bitcoin dollar? Okay, let's bring that up. I've got that one too. Bitcoin. Chart. Here we go. Bear with me, guys. Just bringing up a Bitcoin chart. I actually did an interview last week with Crypto Rich, and I don't like to brag about things, but at the time, I think Bitcoin was 7,500. And I said, looking at this technical picture, it looks like we could go down to 6,800. And lo and behold, that's what the low was. I'm drawing up the chart here. I didn't have it ready. Let's have a look here. Bear with me. I'm drawing it up and then I'm going to share it with you guys. There we go. So, all right, let's click on share and put that chart. Here we go. There's Bitcoin. So when I was speaking to Crypto Rich, it was like the 19th or the 20th. I think it was the 19th. I don't remember what day it was exactly, but we're breaking that trend line there that you can see. And I said, it looks like, you know, where was it? Back in October, we'd broken out of that falling wedge. It looked really good, but it looked like that breakout had failed. And I said, we could very well go back to around 7,000. And then as you can see there, we went down to around 6,800 and it's rebounded, but looks like now it's coming back down. So yeah, we could still see it come down towards that line. And yeah, we need to get back above the top line, which right now would be over 8,000. So as time goes by the end of November, if we can get back above 8,000, that would be positive. That's how I see Bitcoin. So I bought some Bitcoin recently, a day or two ago, and I bought some EOS as well. Hope that helps. Volume of SPY on a daily basis. Is that the S&P futures? Because of the index itself that's tracked, there's no volume. Go to barchart.com. You might be able, I think they do the S&P futures there and they have the volume. Let me write it down. barchart.com. And you don't have to pay for barchart.com. Bob Silver, what is your take on COPPA taking effect on January 2020? I think people are overblowing this a bit. I'm just gonna focus on doing what I do. I don't make videos for the subjects that I cover are not subjects for children. So unless I was going to start making videos for children. So I don't know, but you never know with YouTube. But one thing I would say, does YouTube really want to alienate all the small, creators like the alternative? Do they really want to do that and just have it become like a mainstream media platform? I don't think so, because I don't think they're stupid. They know the mainstream media is dying. That's right, Aaron Levy. Bitcoin cannot be banned or destroyed. It's like you'd have to ban all, IT how can I say, coders. That's what you have to do. It's impossible, right? Yeah, Pat, S&P cash is tracked. I guess they could have the volume for all the 500 stocks that trade in the S&P. Is that what you mean? So, but I think if you go on barchart.com and you go, let's see, like this, SPX, it might be the index, I'm not sure. Or you could go into places like investing.com or marketwatch.com and try to find it there. John Ravinius, missing 21 trillion. Yeah, I'm aware of it. Yeah, and I watched the latest Mark Skidmore interview with Greg Hunter. It's something that is even being covered up now with FASB or Standard 56, right? Which was brought into effect, I think it was October 2018, under this current administration and Congress, right? John DeGlass, I agree. We have gold because we can't trust governments. Gold has been, and silver have been stores of value for thousands of years. That's what some people don't seem to understand. I just want to bring up a book here. I'm going to get a book from my shelf. I don't know if any of you guys remember Christopher Story. He used to have a website. He's an analyst from the UK, worldreport.org. This website doesn't exist anymore. Sorry, it's World Report. Yeah, World Reports. Christopher Story, he passed away back in 2011. He was an advisor to Margaret Thatcher. He was an economist. And I used to follow him back in before the 08 crisis and after the 08 crisis. And he always used to talk about Ambassador Leo Wanta and how, there you go, Leo Wanta, and how he had 13 trillion of funds under his name that had been stolen by the banks, right? 13 trillion. At the time, this was 2004, 5, and 6. I thought this was crazy that, 13 trillion. And now now we see that there's 21 trillion. I wonder if it's got anything to do with Leo Wanta. So he wrote some books though, Christopher Story. Here's one of them. International Currency Review, exposing the biggest hidden network of financial corruption in world history. How Ambassador Sir Leo Wanta's, I think he was knighted, I think, but he was an American, or is an American. Leo Wanta's surprise rescue from the US gulag changed the financial environment. So you might be able to find this online. It's, where's his name? Christopher Story. It's not here, but very interesting. So it makes me wonder, yeah, now it's 27.5 trillion. That's right. Let's see. Pablo Pina, did you listen to Christine Lagarde's speech as ECB head? She emphasized digital currency and green energy. What can you say? I didn't listen to the speech. I saw a story or a headline or a tweet. Someone said, basically, she wants now governments to spend because the central banks have printed so much money. So why not get into even more debt? That's what she wants. She's a fraud, in my opinion, that woman. She wants to keep this debt-based bubble going. I don't see anything good from Christine Lagarde. What is money these days? Well, we don't really have money, do we? With money, you should be able to liquidate to transact. We're using debt money these days, right? Paper money, and it's not even debt, right? It's not even a promissory note. I'll take out my wallet. I've got like a €5 note. It's not even a note I kept from when I went to Italy in October. Here we go, €5, but it just says €5. It's got the initials here, ECB in different languages. And you turn it around, it's the same thing. It doesn't say anything. It just says €5. It's like a monopoly money. It's not a monopoly piece of paper. So I would say that true money is still gold and silver, or anything that's durable, that lasts long, that's divisible, that's accepted. So yeah, I would say gold and silver. Hey, Lord Humongous. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm using Zoom now. I've been able to share quite a bit stuff. I've done technical analysis. I've looked at some articles. So yeah, that's the €5 note. It's nothing, right? And then you get the Bank of England note, and that's not even a note either, because they don't pay, even though it says here, I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of £20. If you go to a bank or the Bank of England and ask for 20 sovereigns, they don't give you 20 sovereigns. So it's all fake, right? It's all fake. That's why when people say, oh, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies are a scam, well, they might be, but so is this, right? So, and I'm not saying that cryptocurrencies are a scam. I'm just saying that it's not any worse than the current system we have, right? I just have a sip of water. Actually, I don't have any of my mugs. I've got a chicken mug here. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, yeah. Oh, let's have a look here. I think I spoke last week in one of my videos about the Atlanta Fed. They had revised their GDP forecast last week to 0.3 year on year for the fourth quarter. But it looks like they've now, I'll show it to you here. There you go, Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. They've revised it slightly higher. They're now up to 0.4. Still not very good, is it? And let's see. There you go, Atlanta Fed. It looks like the you see the range of top 10 and bottom 10 forecast is just over 1.5%. That's US GDP. Let's stop sharing now. And I think, and this is the, I'm going to show you now the New York Fed. I think they revised theirs up as well. So here we go. New York Fed. Yeah, they revised it from I think it was 0.39, as you can see there, November 15th, and now they're up to 0.71. And these are the data that they've added on: building permits, housing starts, right? Philadelphia Fed, activity index. So they've revised it up a little bit. Let's go back. It's much more fun now being able to share all of this with you guys instead of just talking about it. So here we go. Let's continue here. Lord Humongous, we've been reading a little bit off this book. We're now into, we were looking at exchange and why exchange happens, right? I'm sorry you missed it, but you can, maybe if you want, you can watch the recorded live stream. So number 2, and I'll stop after number 2 with the book. It's a barter, right? And it says, yet direct exchange of useful goods and services would barely suffice to keep an economy going above the primitive level. Such direct exchange or barter is hardly better than pure self-sufficiency. Why is this? For one thing, it is clear that very little production could be carried on. If Jones hires some laborers to build a house, with what will he pay them? With parts of the house or with building materials they could not use? The two basic problems are indivisibility and lack of coincidence of wants. Thus, if Smith has a plow which he would like to exchange for several different things, say eggs, bread, and a suit of clothes, how can he do so? How can he break up the plow and give part of it to a farmer and another part to a tailor? Even where the goods are divisible, it is generally impossible for two exchangers to find each other at the same time. If A has a supply of eggs for sale and B has a pair of shoes, how can they get together if A wants a suit? And think of the plight of an economics teacher who has to find an egg producer who wants to purchase a few economics lesson in return for his eggs. Clearly, any sort of civilized economy is impossible under direct exchange. And I think this is a really important part of the book because it shows how when you abuse the monetary system and to the point of where we are nowadays, the central banks, how they've been abusing the system, and the fact that we are under threat, it is very possible that the system could implode and the whole of civilization would halt. I don't know for how long, because without money, it's so difficult to do any exchanging, right? Indirect exchanging. So that's why I think sound money is really important. Yes, Lord Humongous, that's Murray Rothbard's book, What Has Government Done to Our Money? Last week, I went over the introduction. Today, I've gone over chapter 1 up until barter. I will go into indirect exchange next week. So we keep with this book. I think that's a pretty good thing to do for now. And we keep talking about other things as well. Copper will also make a comeback, I believe. Let's have a look at copper, Lord Humongous. Let's look at the chart. I've got copper here, I think. High grade. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Share. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there's a chart of copper. It's a long-term chart. You can see how it moved up quite a bit up to 08. And then when there was the collapse of 08, copper dropped massively. It looks to me like the bottom was January 2016. Right now, it looks like we're forming maybe a head and shoulder top, but who knows? So it looks like $2.50 there. This is high grade copper, the future on COMEX. That's key support. We need to get back, I would say, above 330. But yeah, it looks pretty neutral at the moment. Need to keep an eye at $2.50. All right. Yeah, copper is very, it's also a bellwether for the economy, right? If copper prices are dropping, it means that there's less construction. Copper is used in a lot of things, right? So yeah, copper is a good indicator. Right now, it doesn't seem to be indicating much. Dale Cunningham from Melbourne, Australia. Hi, Dale. Yeah, as I said, Pat, it looks like it's a head and shoulder from top, right? So, and the key support, the neckline is at 2.5. I'm echoing, am I? My volume is off. Maybe it's you're hearing Billy snoring, I don't know. But my volume is off, so I shouldn't be echoing. Am I echoing now? Dave Humphrey says everything is manipulated. Maybe that's what they want us to believe. So it puts us off from doing the right thing, like having gold and silver, maybe some copper, right? So I don't know. All right, I'll take a few more questions and then I'm gonna call it a day. I think we've been here, what, 66 minutes? 66, that's a good number, huh? 666. Do any of you guys ever watch Marty Leeds? He's Marty Leeds Live. He's quite an interesting guy with the numbers. Manic Miners opening a Glint account. Well, they've come back. Yeah, if you do open a Glint account, use this promo code. At least I'll, there you go, Mario Glint 79. You can use that promo code, even though I haven't been pushing Glint lately because they were in administration in Europe. But I think Glint kept running these last 2 months in the US. John DeGlass, if Labor win, gold will go through the roof. That's good for us, not good for the country. Anyway, I don't think whoever wins, the country still, we've got a problem with debt, right? It could even be that if Labor wins, things, they crash things a lot much more quicker than the conservatives, right? And I think we need to see a cleansing of the system. So I don't know. I don't know. Ben Gray, hi Ben. We're just wrapping up here, right? So are the debit cards not working in the USA? Yeah, I thought they were. Great. All right, everyone. I hope this the Zoom worked well in the sharing. I don't think we had any buffering problems, which is good. And I will talk to you tomorrow as per my usual video. And maybe I'll even do a few more live streams with Zoom because it's really great and I can share material with you guys on the screen. So now I'm gonna end this, stop live stream.